please, Samuel, you can start telling us what we can see. Samuel Appelbaum is professor for biology, I think, in the Negev desert in Israel, where he is now. And he cooperates with the Solar Center concerning this fish project. Okay, Samuel, please.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, is the screen, you have it on the screen, the poster, this poster?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the idea is utilizing solar energy for duckweed, which is in German Entengrütze, to grow duckweed in arid regions as a potentially important food additive in animal and human nutrition. So what is the motivation? The motivation is few points: worldwide shortage of food production, worldwide shortage of high water quality, I mean fresh water, efficient use of solar energy for food production, primarily in arid regions, experiment indicating good growth of duckweed in brine from water desalination plants. Important is that health tests conducted on fish-fed duckweed grown in brine showed it to be safe for human use. In general, we know arid zones are characterized by high solar radiation, high temperatures, water scarcity, food shortage, and, if we may say, difficult living conditions. The experiments have been done, all experiments here in the Negev desert, and we are using the brine from desalination plants. It could be either seawater desalination or inland brackish water desalination. You can see the idea is to use the same water, no matter if it is brine, fresh, brackish, no matter, for the same users. We call it the chain of users. You see on the left-hand side the water, in this case brine. Fish grow in the brine. Many species can live happily in brine, of course in seawater, of course in fresh water. Then the next you see the duckweed. The duckweed is grown in separate ponds or tanks and gets the water from the fish, which is rich with effluent. All excrements the fish are releasing into the water and the fish would like to get rid of goes as nutrient for the duckweed. Next to the duckweed, we use other plants that love salt water, Portulaca. It is known worldwide in warm regions. You may find it also in Europe, Southern Europe, and also in Northern Europe. It needs higher temperatures, and it is used in many countries. In Jordan, for instance, it's a popular food to be used in salads, in Mexico, and in Israel and other countries. Salicornia, a plant that is happy to be grown in seawater, but also in brine below the level of seawater in terms of salt. Now, if you have the chain of users and there is no renewal, if no brine is coming again into the system, so through evaporation, you may get higher salinity, and at the end, you have a very high salinity of the water. You can grow organisms like Artemia that loves water salinity of above seawater. And Artemia is used worldwide in all fish and shrimp hatcheries as a basic food for the larval stages, no matter if it's fish or shrimp. At the end of the chain of users, you end up with a salt. which is useful for anything you can think of. So that is what we call a chain of usage. And again, I make it clear, it can be done with brine, fresh water, seawater, whatever. Then we made some experiment. Fish are growing happily. And you can see at the bottom here, fish tilapia is feeding on the duckweed. Here you see the duckweed grown at a very high concentration in tanks. It could be any water. They could be water, standing water, or water that flows in a relatively slow motion, but needs some nutrients. And the duckweed can be seen as a little pump, pumping out of the water anything possible, anything possible. Now, the fish can get the duckweed either fresh, which is not sensible because the fresh form of the duckweed contains more than 85% water. So what we do, we harvest the duckweed, we dry it, we crunch it, and we add it to the fish pellets. And that is the best way. We did it up to 35% addition of duckweed in dry form into the fish feed, pellets feed, and the tilapia were very, very happy. So you can see that in this case, tilapia is growing some of its own food by the metabolites that is released into the water, and the fish want to get rid of it. So let's look shortly into the summary and conclusion. Solar energy enables the intensive production of duckweed and fish in the same water, whether brine or fresh, forming a chain of users where both benefit from each other. What does it mean, benefit from each other? The duckweed gets nutrient from the fish, the metabolites from the fish, and because the duckweed cleans the water by taking all the excrements from the water and use it for its own growth, the water can become again clean to grow the same fish or other fish. So we use the same water many times by cleaning the water cost-free by the duckweed. So that's the benefit of the fish, and the benefit of the duckweed gets the nutrient from the fish. Duckweed can potentially be used on a larger industrial scale as a feed additive for herbivorous and omnivorous fish. Most fish culture in the world are the carp, tilapia, and other species that are not carnivorous, but herbivorous or omnivorous. And that is so important that we can reduce the cost of the feed as much as possible. Worldwide, that is of a great importance. Duckweed can greatly contribute to animal and human food, particularly in arid regions. And arid regions are rich in solar energy and poor in fresh water. Fish fed duckweed grown in the same water were found safe for human consumption. Now, just for example, in our region, the mean solar energy at the experiment location was 6.25 kilocalories per square meter per hour. This is what I wanted to show you, and there is no question this.
Later. Thank you so much.
Yeah.